Howdy, and welcome to Man vs. AI, an experiment in which I, Joshua Nieubuurt, a CAPTCHA certified human being, take on AI models technologically tuned to generate human language natural text in a tail-weaving battle of expertise. Whoo! Today's opponents include OpenAI's
GPT-3 and ChatGPT.
May the best writer win. Being the first episode, we had to go with something a bit extraordinary. So, this battle focuses on a roughly 500-word piece of flash fiction. The focus being on, drumroll please, chickens trying to avenge their creators after an apocalyptic event. Today's stories fall under the title Cockpocalypse. I hope you enjoy. Late in the year 2068, the human species was decimated by two viral weaponized plagues. The first, Techna Immortalis, was introduced as a panacea. It allowed for gene self-rejuvenation, tuning the metabolic system to survive on the most meager of foods. This technology was amplified by the introduction of implanted hardware straight into the brain, Cerebrum Machina 4.2. Together, they worked symbiotically, eradicating diseases and giving superhuman strength. During its widespread adoption, the anatomically natural army of life forged a quantum virus that hacked both technologies, turning the bulk of humans into techno-zombies that feasted purely on flesh. The agriculture industry collapsed when robotics code was not updated. Energy grids failed. Humanity was plunged back into the Dark Ages, forced to live once more in small hunter-gatherer bands. But from the ashen ruins of humanity, one species thrived. Gallus Biotechnus domesticus, the bioengineered battlecocks. They were part of a cutting-edge skunkworks technology housed in a special lab deemed the Coop, found deep within the hidden research labs below Denver International Airport. They utilized the same technology as their human creators and adapted linguistic and technological prowess. In their final iteration, they were considered the world's next elite fighting force. Until darkness overtook their subterranean world. Over a series of months, the cocks fought their way to the surface to greet a depleted landscape still smoldering in the wake of the techno-zombies. Upon seeing the downfall of their creator, they vowed to avenge them at all costs, and decided to destroy the anatomically natural army of life in a strategic strike on their headquarters located in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. This is their tale of glory and sacrifice. September 2069. One visible from above. Over. Psh. Sergeant Spindle reported.
Take the shot. Over.
Psh. Flappadoodle ordered. A shot rang out. One high-powered laser cut through the techno-zombie's implant. The zombie fell with a loud thud. Target down. We have 3 fast movers on the ground and 1 techno-hound sniffing himself on the street. No threats. Over. Psh, Doodle replied. Hearing the report, a team of 4 battlecocks entered into what was once Circus via a broken window. Slowly, silently, they waddled into the hallways towards door 760. Carcasses of slain victims lay covered in gore and blood, but otherwise they were pristine. They lined the walls in stacks. We have a series of non-entities here in the hallway. Their lights are out and implants missing. Over. Psh, Beard Splitter reported.
Roger, prepare for entry. Over.
Psh, Doodle said. The cocks bobbed and then charged in all at once. In a moment, the door fell to the floor, and two humans stared at them in disbelief.
Caw-caw! For the coop!
Beard Splitter shouted. The room erupted into a firefight, leaving the two humans as mere piles of wet waste on the floor. Mission accomplished. Time to go find some hens. Over. Psh, Beard Splitter rejoiced. Excellent work, Cox. Let's blow this joint. Rendezvous at my... Shh. Doodle's connection was terminated. The cocks began a panic cluckfest. Exiting back into the hallway, they were greeted by 10 humans with crossbows. Looks like chicken wings tonight, boys. Yee-haw! All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We have opened up GPT-3, and here's our prompt. Write a complete 500-word story about chickens avenging, let's go, mankind after an apocalyptic event. So let's see what it comes up with here. And here we go. I always imagine it making a typewriter sound. So let's have it continue. Ooh, it's a lot. Probably a little more. All right. So let's go through their story and let's see how GPT-3 did. It had been a long and arduous journey, one full of death and destruction. The world as they knew it had ended in a catastrophic event that left the planet in ruins. Now, the survivors were few and far between, some of them struggling to keep their sanity in a world full of death and despair. Among them were the chickens. They had been living in the same area as humans before the apocalypse, but now they were the only living creatures left. For a while, they stayed where they were, scavenging for food and trying to survive. But then, one day, something changed. The chickens had seen the horrible things that the humans had done to each other and to the planet, and they were determined to make them pay for their actions. They started to gather up what little resources they had and began to build a makeshift army. They used sticks and stones to fashion crude weapons, and soon enough, they had a small force of warriors. The chickens marched out of the ruins and into the human settlements, determined to make the humans pay for the destruction they had caused. The humans were no match for the well-armed chickens, and soon enough the chickens had taken control of the settlements. They established a new government with the chickens as the rulers and the humans as their subjects. They implemented strict laws and regulations and made sure that the humans were kept in check. They also made sure that their environment was kept clean and safe, and that the planet was restored to its former beauty. The chickens had finally taken their revenge on the humans, and they were determined to make sure that they would never cause such destruction again. They had also discovered that they could use their newfound power to help the other survivors, and so they began to build a better world for everyone. It was a long and difficult process, but eventually the chickens had restored the planet and the survivors were able to start living a new life. The chickens had avenged the humans, but more importantly, they had given them a chance to start over. The world was still a dangerous place, but the chickens had made sure that it was a little safer for everyone. They had proven that even in the darkest of times, hope still existed. The chickens had saved the planet, and mankind was forever in their debt. A very heartwarming story, I think. So, although it was very heartwarming, there are a couple problems I think you might have noticed right away. For example, here, the world as they knew it had ended in a catastrophic event that left the planet in ruins. Now, the survivors were few and far between, some of them struggling to keep their sanity in a world full of death and despair. Okay. Among them were the chickens. They had been living in the same area as the humans before the apocalypse, but now they were the only living creatures left. So, this makes me wonder if our chickens hallucinated the whole thing. Something to keep in mind. Maybe they got a little meta there. Now and see how this one goes about it. Well, this is exciting. It was the year 2045, a little closer, and the world had been plunged into chaos. A deadly virus had swept across the globe, killing billions of people and leaving the survivors to pick up the pieces. The few remaining humans were scattered and isolated, struggling to survive in a world that had become a wasteland. In the midst of all this chaos, a small group of chickens had managed to survive and thrive. They had always been treated as nothing more than a source of food by the humans. But now that their masters were gone, they were free to roam and explore. As the years passed, the chickens grew smarter and more organized. They built elaborate coops and established a complex system of communication. They were no longer the simple, mindless creatures that humans had always believed them to be. One day, the chickens received a message from a group of humans who had managed to survive the apocalypse. They were desperate for help and begged the chickens to come to their aid. The chickens knew that this was their chance to prove their worth. They had always been mistreated by humans, and now was their chance to show that they were more than just a source of food. They gathered together and discussed their options, and finally decided to send a small group of their bravest and most intelligent chickens to help the humans. The journey was long and perilous, but the chickens were determined. They traveled across the wasteland using their keen senses and intelligence to navigate their way through the dangers that lurked at every turn. Finally, they reached the human settlement. It was a small, ramshackle village surrounded by walls made of scrap metal and rubble. The humans were overjoyed to see the chickens and welcomed them with open arms. The chickens wasted no time in getting to work. They used their expertise in building and engineering to help the humans repair their damaged structures and fortify their defenses. They also shared their knowledge of survival in the wasteland, teaching the humans how to find food and water in the barren land. As the weeks passed, the humans grew stronger and more self-sufficient. They began to see the chickens as more than just their saviors, but as their equals. The chickens, for their part, were proud to have helped the humans and to have gained their respect. In the end, it was the chickens who had saved mankind from the brink of extinction. They had proved that they were more than just a source of food, but intelligent and capable beings who could rise to any challenge. And as the humans and chickens worked together to rebuild their world, they knew that they would always be there for each other, united in their struggle for survival. Woo! What a story! It's got everything, doesn't it? Maybe this is the ancient civilization that came before humans and saved us after the last ice age. Huh? Whew, pretty good. Pretty good.